Kaboom.
Wow.
We're on. Here, let's.
That makes a lot of sense, though. Do you talk to yourself?
Yes. Like, I see, I do, but I get scared because I think something might be wrong with me because I don't just talk to myself. I go into full-on conversations. Like, I'm like, both, like, multiple sides, multiple people.
Where it's like, okay, now this could be schizophrenia or something
yeah,
crazy.
It worries me because I'm afraid that I'm actually crazy.
But they say the most intelligent people are. You know what I mean?
True,
like if you look at the most intelligent people.
Well, I think that's because they don't function the way that most people do, and that's why they're seen as crazy. But like I do random like how I'm going to run my classroom. Like I'll just be thinking about something, and boom, next thing I know, I'm standing in my kitchen, walking around, just randomly talking to nobody as a professor. Like, okay, so here's how my classroom runs, and here's what we're going to do. Now we're going to start talking about this. But here's the weird thing. You know how when you think about something really hard, you actually start to see it? Same thing. I look around, and I actually picture myself in a lecture hall talking. Well, not so much like the lecture hall. I can still see my kitchen, but I picture seats on my
I'm pretty sure we call that daydreaming.
Oh.
That's daydreaming. That's all you're doing. You're daydreaming. But you're a person that is so very passionate about what you want out of life. Mm-hmm. You're so passionate that this is your daydream. You're fantasizing about what you're passionate with. And like, okay, being who you are, you should always be exactly who you are.
Right.
You know, who you say you are should be who you are.
Right.
So like, you're practicing who you want to be. You're fantasizing about who you are. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because that's who you're going to be. You already know you're going to achieve it because you're successful enough, you're smart enough, you know? So it's like...
One of my favorite things to do is to go outside. I like, it makes me not sound crazy when I say think out loud. Yeah. I like to go outside and I'll walk around my pond a couple hundred times. And oh my, that needs moved. I will... get into the shot, I guess. I'll go outside and I'll just walk around for like an hour and I'm just talking to myself, random shit. I'm like, okay, so political science this, math this, science this, boom this, oh my god, this is great, oh my god, I gotta go write this down, oh my god, and then
your mind is exploding with thoughts. Yeah.
It's kind of crazy because my mom always says, you know, my mind goes a million and 1 miles an hour. I'm like, yeah, mine's like 1,000,000,001. Like, you don't want to get up in here because it's impossible. Like, I feel sorry for the neurons up there who have to process everything, put everything away because it's just so fast. Just like, boom. But.
See, and that's where, like, recording that. Because everything that you think about, and you know this in yourself, and I know that you do because I feel this way about myself, every single thing that you think about is so intellectual and so important that it needs to be shared. You know what I mean? Because your thoughts are that great. So, I mean, I do that. Okay, so every day I have to wait 10, 15 minutes for my kids at the bus stop right down there. Okay, yeah. So I'll like walk down the alley and then I'm just standing there waiting for the bus. Yeah. And I'm like, how can I utilize this time right now? Because I don't have time to waste. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I'm going to reflect and then I'm going to think about things of the future, and then use this time to really think.
Yeah.
So then, like, I'll be walking along the road, and I'll start daydreaming about stuff, and I'll be talking to myself, and there's people walking around. I don't really care, you know. That's my time to think and reflect, and being outside.
Yes.
It's so beautiful. You feel the air. You smell the world. You see everything living around you, and it's like, I can think clearer.
Right. I don't like talking in public. Like, I tend to whisper or just go silent and just start thinking stuff, which is really hard because, like, when I think, it's not how fast I'm talking now. It's, I'm talking. Like, and it gets so, and I'm like, oh, dear God. People just hurry up so I can just. But I remember I was taking piano lessons at Heidelberg before I was a student there, and I would leave. And I'd start planning things. That's what I do. I am a psycho planner.
That's how I am too. Yeah, I'm like that too.
I love doing research on stuff that is about me, and I know it's kind of selfish, but I mean, like, I love doing research about, okay, how do I get my job? How do I get the first job as a professor? How do I get into grad school? How do I take my trip to Italy?
No, that is excellent. That's what you should be doing. You're focused on the absolute right thing. Okay. In order to be successful and be anybody in life, that's what you need to be doing. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, you need, the most important things to you are getting what you want.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not going to take no for an answer. So how do you do that? You got to start now. You have to start where you're at. You have to do the research. You have to start networking. You have to just start doing outreach, and just, you really do.
My huge issue is, I know I have the brain power to do a lot of stuff. I am so goddamn lazy. It's not even funny. And it frustrates me.
What do you mean?
I don't have, like, I have the drive. Like, the other night, I was doing something. I was watching Netflix or something that's not benefiting me in any way.
Mm-hmm.
And I started being like, oh my God, I so want to read that political science journal that I have in my binder. I so want to go read that. And then I got the really strong drive, like, I'm going to go do it. So I did. I sat down and I read, like, this much of it and was like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
And it's just like, granted, I mean, they tend to be boring because, like, the abstract and the abstract is interesting, but the introduction is usually pretty boring. But I've never gotten all the way through because I just do what I need and I'm done. But like the other night, I sat down and I was so bored with the North Korean Constitution, but I forced myself to get all the way to the end, because once I got to the end, that's how the government was actually set up. That's what I was most concerned about. So I had to suffer through all the bullshit to get my reward at the end.
You realize what you just described there is called hardworking. Okay? I'm not even kidding you. Exactly how you described it. I'm giving this presentation on success. Who do you want to be? That's what I'm calling it.
Mm-hmm.
And the last portion, and the most important portion of being successful and being who you want to be, is being hardworking.
Yeah.
So you might feel lazy because you know that you can do better and you know that you can do more. So it makes you feel lazy, but you're not, because, like, you're pushing through your problems. You're like, this needs to be done. I don't want to do it, but it needs to be done. And you push yourself through it anyway. And you get, the overall goal is done.
I'm a huge procrastinator.
I am too.
I will wait till the last minute to do something.
But I don't think, maybe, and this is something I just recently realized, maybe you're not as big of a procrastinator as you think you are.
That's possible.
Because Kelsey came over and, you know, I'm very prepared. I have a file like that big for my speech.
Oh,
you know what I mean? And I think
yeah.
I'm a procrastinator. But I have a file that big for my speech. She's like, I don't even do that much research.
Oh, okay.
So maybe you really aren't procrastinating.
Well, see, like right now, I was more concerned with doing something on. I think my thing is I just need a break, because I do Monday through Friday school and then work and then work and then I work all weekend. I never get Dakota time.
You do, yeah. You do need a break.
So,
everybody needs a break, so you can just.
Yeah, I was so excited. Like, nobody should get that excited about having a Sunday off.
Yeah.
Like, I was so excited.
I was supposed to be off too.
Really?
I picked up Mary Schiffer. I didn't know that you were. We could have had like the most fantastic fun day.
I was so excited. I was going to get up. I was going to go to work. I was going to come back, do some political science, which I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I so should have. But I was going to read some political science articles, and then I was going to go to my interview. I thought I was actually tutoring, but it was an interview.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I don't know if you know, I have ads up everywhere because I'm trying to get that moving. Because
tutoring?
Yes, because I'm so damn tired of working at teaching.
Yeah.
But
it's like, what, I pay you okay?
Yeah, that's actually, I found it so weird when you said that, because I was like, that's exactly what I charge everybody else.
Right.
So.
Well, see, I was like, what should I pay him? And this is how my mind went. And especially because I'm a server, I want to pay you what I think you, I guess, are worth. And
yeah.
my son is in 3rd grade, so I guess if it was more in detailed kind of something, then I would feel like you needed more. But
right.
like, since it's 3rd grade and it's pretty simple, I was like, I think $10 sounds like it's.
My thing with that is I thought about that too, and I was like, should I charge 20? Should I charge 15? Like on my ads and stuff. But I don't want to charge minimum wage because I have a college education. I know I haven't graduated, so I don't technically have a college education, but I do. I have a college education, and that's what I'm using to help these people with math. So I'm going to charge a little bit more because I'm using that extra education that, you know, I'm already more educated in 2 semesters, 33 credit hours, so like a little bit more than 2 semesters, than most Americans.
Okay. I'm in college. I'm 25. You're 16.
Yeah.
You are more educated than I am.
This is not true.
At your age in math.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For your age, if you look at an age comparison in math. So, I mean, it's not only, like, in the United States and America. It's not even only that, like, statistically, your age range, you're above.
Yeah, I'm ahead.
Way above.
Which everybody finds this such a big deal, and I like the attention every now and again. People are like, "Oh my God, you're still in high school?" Yeah, like
that
no
is
big
really
deal.
cool.
But for me, it's cool. That's all it is. It's exciting knowing that when I graduate, I don't have to go to school for 4 more years.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, I'll still have 10, but that's because it'll be advanced degrees, not just the stupid bullshit. All the stupid bullshit classes I don't want to take anyway will be out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll just be math and political science from there on out after I graduate.
Right.
Which is nice.
I love how focused you are on, like, what you're doing. I really like that.
I'm multifaceted, but it changes a lot. Like, I was just math until I took this government class that I'm in, and I was holy shit!
That's how I get. Yeah. That's awesome, though. Because that means, like, you're really getting a lot. And just imagine how many classes that you go in where you're expecting, like, okay, this is what this is going to be. And then your mind's completely blown. And then it gives you a whole new world of insight. And you know what? I did a recording on why college education is important.
Yeah.
Any education is important.
Right.
Because it expands your mind to so many opportunities and so many things and so many details and looking at things in so many different ways,
right.
But all in one. So, like, that's what you're doing by taking these classes. Now I know this knowledge and that's how this goes here,
right.
How it pertains to everything.
Kaboom!
Yeah. But it's really awesome how, if you're a focused person like you are, you really see that. It makes sense. It makes everything else make sense.
I used to hate school. I mean, I think everybody does to some degree. You don't want to actually be there. You don't want to have to do the stuff. But I think that changes once you get to university, because once you're at university, you have more free time. You're more liberal. You're allowed to do what you want, which is part of the reason I'm independent. I am so independent. That actually causes some issues at home because my parents are, trying to be like, hey, you need to do this. And I'm like, fuck that. No, I don't. Because I just got that independent, like, I'm a Sagittarius.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, absolutely.
But then I got around, I've always been interested in, like, science. I mean, I'm more interested in math than I am science now. But I had a friend who came and he just sat down next to me one day after science class or in the middle of it or whatever. And he's just like, so planets this, planets that. And I was like, whoa, like this kid, I talked to every now and again, but we weren't friends. I didn't care for him. And then this started happening consistently. He started seeing the expansion I was going on in my mind. Like, I never talked to anybody about anything. It was so weird because I brought my intellectual side out.
Yeah.
But he also made me a people person. I wasn't really a people person.
That is so cool.
Yeah, and most intelligent people you don't see as people.
That is so cool.
People.
I think I'm a people person. I'm intelligent, but I feel like I have a lot more common sense, intelligence. And then now I am gaining a lot more insight and knowledge, and I'm really, gaining.
If I'm being completely honest, I did not care for you when I first met you because you got RBFS.
Yeah, I know.
I thought you didn't like me.
Really?
And yeah, because I'd be like, oh my God. I remember walking by one day, I was like, oh my God, working here is gonna make me fat because I eat all the time when I'm there. And you just snickered. I saw you snicker, and my goal was to make you smile once a day. Every single day that you were there. But I feel like now that was just, you were in a new situation. It's kind of uncomfortable. You got to get used to things.
Yeah.
But I saw you do the RBFS, resting bitch face syndrome to Taylor, and it made me laugh because she lied to Tori as to why she was shoving me the other day. And she said I called her a name, and I was like, that's total bullshit. I walked up to you and said you're bad at your job.
Yeah.
I was fucking with you. My God. But then I got on and started telling her I was the next manager and you should stop. And she stopped. So.
That is so funny.
Shouldn't lie.
No, I honestly, I think resting bitch face, I suppose it's a defense mechanism. Honestly, I've had so much change in my life that I don't like change.
Yeah.
Because now I have to learn new people. I have to learn new things. I have all of these things, all these priorities now.
Yeah.
and I really need to be focused. Right. So I really don't want people. I don't want to associate with people until I know. I get a real good feel.
Yeah.
So it's like a defense, and like people leave me alone, and they know that I can be very serious, and they know that I am very serious, and that I am very focused. Mm-hmm. And then once I get comfortable, I'm like, okay, now I know all this, and I can just...
Yeah, it's less tense and more,
Yeah, exactly.
It's normal. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like things changed for you and me when the day that you were, like, freaking out for your exam, and I was like, hey, I can totally help you. And I'm so happy that happened, because I was talking to Mary the other day, and I said, I'm really concerned that once I leave TJ's or you leave TJ's that we won't be friends anymore. Mm-hmm. And there are I like most people I work with.
Yeah.
And I'm friends with a good majority of the people I work with, but someone doesn't want me on camera. I'm friends with a good majority of the people that I work with, but am I, like, friends with them? No, I'm work friends with them, and I like seeing them.
Right,
I like
and
being
there's
around
a difference,
them.
Yeah.
But there's a very select few people, you being one of them, that once I leave, I want to be friends with after the fact, because I think we just...
It's a great connection.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree.
I think we're fantastic friends, and actually, I was legit, like, one day, I got, like, kind of depressed about it, actually. Like, I was a little upset, like, oh my god, once I leave TJ's, Amanda's gone, like, oh god.
No way, yeah.
So actually, that's why it made my day the other day when I was talking about Italy, and you were like, we're going to be friends forever. I was like, yes! Got it!
Well, I mean, like, you remember that one day I sent you that text, and I was like, from my shine to yours. You know what I mean? You absolutely, you're a person, your mind is phenomenal. It's extraordinary, okay? And you... in life, and this is something I recently have realized, you don't meet that many people that have such an extraordinary mind. Maybe I have more gratitude towards people. I see people how they actually are. And yours is so extraordinary. And if I'm not going to meet much more extraordinary people, I'm not going to let go of the ones that I do meet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because your definition of extraordinary, who you are as extraordinary, pulls out who I am as extraordinary. And then it just is like...
Well, thank you. I'm flattered. Something actually, though, speaking of being extraordinary, one of the things that I'm pissing myself off is I've been bitching a lot lately. A lot. Actually, I remember, oh my god, I remember the night I stood there and was talking to, I think it was Anthony, I said, I've got an education, I've got a safe home, I've got friends, I've got no reason to bitch. After everybody left, that's all I did was bitch and bitch and bitch and bitch and bitch. And I'm like, oh my god.
Why?
I don't know. Like, I just was so irritated, and I was getting pissed off because I think a bus tug got brought back, like, extremely late. And we were getting ready to shut down, and we were trying to do this, and I just started going, boom. And then I've noticed I do it a lot more now, and I'm like, okay, it's normal to bitch every once in a while. That's fine. But this is excessive. I'm, like, Austin bad. Like, it's not okay. And I've been trying to work on it, but I feel like I've tainted my happy reputation to a couple people because they saw, I'm having trouble figuring out if I'm my real self when I'm at work or when I'm at home, because I feel like I'm my real self. My real self is happy and excited like I am, and I feel like that's very much suppressed at home because nobody at my house, nobody tends to, oh my lord, we're blocking you out now.
Just put that there.
Okay. Nobody tends to care about the things that I care about.
Right.
I mean, I try to talk to my mother about math, and she's like, I don't care. I don't care. I'm like,
aw.
But I get it. She doesn't, I think part of the thing is it frustrates her because she has no idea what I'm talking about. And she said this. She's like, you're just, and I'm like, I get that, but sometimes I just need somebody to listen to me. Somebody just to, I learned about integrals today, and this is what an integral is, and, even if you don't care, ask questions. Try to learn a little bit of what I'm talking about. But the other day I came up with a theory as to Marx, Karl Marx. You know who he is?
No.
He's a German man who wrote the Communist Manifesto.
Okay.
And that's basically, to make an extremely long story short, it is a book about how governments will work throughout history. So it's like you start in the feudal stage where, you've got like overlords of land and, there's a king or whatever. And then you're going to move to democracy. And then after democracy, you move to strict dictatorship. And then after dictatorship, you should get into the communist phase, which communism, as far as I know, is pretty much the same thing as anarchy.
Okay.
Just an efficient form of anarchy. So there's no like leader. Everybody just kind of does what they need for society. But there's no, in anarchy, people usually come in and take over. And
yeah.
So I noticed though that anybody who's ever been in like under strict rule, Germany being a really weird exception, tends to have very authoritarian forms of government. The Korean Peninsula was occupied before World War II by the Japanese. Like, they were awful to the Korean people. And I find that North Korea, yes, it was backed by the Soviet Union, but you see the same thing with Russia itself. After the Soviet Union collapsed, they went from, awful treatment. They didn't know how to fix it, so they just kind of went with what they're used to, I guess. But I'm starting to think about other things while I'm talking now. I'm starting to think about that because I'm starting to think it through a little bit more. So now I'm trying to...
And the end result is always authority. More
yeah.
authority.
Yeah, so...
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
So here's my thought on that chunk of what you just said. Now, if you take what you know about that,
mm-hmm.
and then you apply it to your own personal life, and you see how it relates to you as a person,
yeah,
what do you come up with? Somebody this is what I come up with. Somebody that is under more rule, more focused, limited to everything else, under more rule,
mm-hmm.
will come out at the end with more authority. What is authority? Power.
Right.
So if you apply that to your own life, then you can, when you're looking at it as a whole,
mm-hmm.
now you really understand it because you're applying it to your life too, and you're seeing.
Right. But I would hope that anybody who does that does it for good instead of for egotistical reasons.
Well, and see, that's where like good ethics and good morals and good values come in. You're a person with good ethics and morals and values.
I think.
You are.
Like we were talking about rule the world. I've thought about how if I came into power, how I would do that. Would I be a dictator? I've thought about that actually, and I think that I would be a great dictator. Great leader, but I feel like I would be very mean, and that's why when I was like, okay, if I ever were to rule the world, I wouldn't want to be the sole person in power because I know what power does to people.
Oh yeah,
it's awful. So I established basically a form of democracy so that I'm checked. It gets irritating, but it keeps me from going insane. And here's the crazy thing about dictatorships is the dictator lives in just as much fear as the people. Stalin slept 4 hours a night because he was terrified that somebody was going to come kill him.
Yeah, because he was everything that he did. Yeah,
and when they get like that, they're like, oh my God, I'm scared.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when he would purge. He'd get rid of people that were close to him and just start new.
Yeah.
And there's a great YouTube video I think you should watch. It's about the keys of power and how in democracy there are more keys, so those people get like less money, less goods and stuff. But in dictatorship there are less keys, so those people make more money. It's crazy. It was like boom, and it made everything make sense. It's kind of confusing if you really start to think about it, but it kind of explains how everything works. It's kind of awesome.
I do that too. Like that video that I made, if you look, there's a few times where I just was thinking so much that my brain was just like, I need a break.
Yeah.
Cut you off. And then you gotta like reflect like, okay, that's what I was thinking about.
Right. I burn myself out a lot. Like, after you've sat down and you've taken a test for like 3 days.
Yeah.
And not really that long, but really long, hard test that you really got to focus. You just get that like dry feeling in your head. You're like, ugh, and you become zombie.
Yeah.
I do that to myself a lot to the point where it's like, okay, I've thought enough for today. We need to go fill my head with some crap. Let's go watch some TV and just kind of be like, okay, let's reabsorb.
Well, you need that. Yeah, you need that. You definitely need that. But like, okay, so for me, when I start feeling like that, I've been reading. Actually, which I'm putting stuff in, but it's mellow. I'm still chilled. I don't have to think about it. I just have to read the words and then just kind of visual reading, I suppose. But now, like, I'm not filling my head with garbage on TV. But usually TV, it's YouTube and motivational stuff.
Yeah.
So, but now I'm actually, I don't. Or painting. I like to paint.
Really?
Yeah, I love to paint.
I don't. I'm not good at it. It
I
frustrates
love
me.
it. I love it. Well, you can take a canvas and you can just start with nothing, okay? A blank. If you look at my living room, I have a picture above my couch. It has nothing in it. It is blank.
Mm-hmm.
If you could just look at that and just take your thoughts and just actually visualize them on that paper, kind of like daydreaming.
Yeah.
And then you just start to paint. And then you might make a little mistake, but this is what's going to make my painting so magnificent, because I'm going to turn that mistake into something else. And then my picture becomes a little bit of something else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like what I paint with is acrylics. When you paint with acrylics, if you make a mistake,
Yeah.
it dries very quickly. And then you can, and then by the time you're done, it's like,
kaboom.
wow. Yep.
Painting
is a great hobby for anybody.
I'm not artistic, and it bothers me because I am left brain centric, so I'm very logical. I think everything logically.
Did you know that Sagittarius is logical?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which it's frustrating to me though, because I'm thinking, someday, this was back when I wanted to be like just mathematician. Someday I'm going to be a mathematician, and a mathematician has to be able to come up with new ideas, and I can't do that. I can take new ideas and logic my way through them, but to actually come up with brand new ideas is kind of difficult for me. So I've been doing brain workouts on Lumosity.com.
What is it?
Lumosity.
Okay.
And you play these stupid little games. Okay, you feel like you're a preschooler. You feel like you're like 5 years old, but they're memory and they're quick. They're like, okay, you got to do memory. You got to do this. You got to do this. You got to do this.
And they help you improve your memory.
Mm-hmm.
That is so cool.
I watched a YouTube video about.
Wait! I need to write this down. That is so neat. I want to do that. That's great. That is like a super, super great way to utilize your time, especially when you get burnt out, because you're like, I need to put my mind somewhere else where I don't have to think all that much, but I have to think. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got.
Maybe it's like running in neutral.
I don't think that's right.
Well, I can.
It'll come up. Yeah. But I was one day after school. I was in the library and just kind of watching like YouTube videos, and I was like, okay, let's exercise my brain. I did it like to the point where I was burnt out. Like I was like, oh my god.
Oh, from doing it?
Yeah, not just this. I mean, it was YouTube. It was this. It was that. It was this. And I was like, okay, I just gotta stop. I was starting to give myself a headache
from doing it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But the next day I woke up, and I was doing a lot of like memory and pay attention to detail. I just started noticing weird things like I've never noticed. Focusing on stupid little things I don't focus on. Ever.
So it just expanded your mind.
Yeah, and it was crazy.
Wow.
That
is so cool.
One day.
Isn't that amazing how the brain really works though? Just like us, we need to exercise in order to stay healthy.
Yeah.
Our brains, our brain is part of that. It needs to exercise in order to stay healthy and stay focused.
And I was looking up, maybe I wasn't, I don't remember, but I think I've heard somewhere that when you exercise your brain, you actually use it. The neurons have axons. Axons send information to other neurons, but dendrites, I think, are the little arms, and synapses are the ones that hang off the arms that send the particles in and they collect. I might have that backwards. I don't know. I screw it up every time.
Okay.
But basically what happens is you've got your end of the neuron here of 1, and this one here will send out 5 particles, let's say, and this one will pick up 3. So you've lost 2. But when you exercise your brain, now it'll pick up 4, 4.5, 5, all of them. That's why actually people who have depression, it's because this neuron here is sending out a lot of signals, and this one's just not picking up.
Really?
So their brain can't keep up, and the neurons aren't functioning the way they're supposed to. That's what I've heard. Anyway, I don't know if that's actually true. But then they give you...
that's an interesting way of looking at it.
Right. And they give you medication that helps that problem. But here's the problem. If you're depression and anxiety, you can't speed it up because it gives you more anxiety. You can't slow it down. It gives you more depression. So now it's like kaboom. What do you do?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I used to be on anxiety and depression medication for a long time.
Yeah.
And the end results of that were very, very negative.
Yeah.
From being on the medication. And I got to a point where I was completely off of the medication and I decided I was ready to deal with life.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And it clicked in my mind and I no longer needed the medication.
Yeah.
And things got a lot clearer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I talked to
I
people.
learned to deal with it instead of letting that deal with it.
Right. Oh my god. I know some people, a person that is on depression meds, and she tells me all the time that when she takes them, it doesn't help. It makes her feel like destroyed.
Yes.
But here's the interesting thing. Oh my god, I love food, okay? I'm like a nutrition guru. It's kind of weird. I eat like shit lately, and I need to change that. I've been trying to, but I've introduced too much old toxins back into my life. So now it's like, shit, I gotta detox again. Do I want to go through that? You know?
I need to do that, too.
A glass of, instead of your morning coffee, a glass of warm lemon water. It tastes awful. You get used to it. Eventually it tastes great. But it wakes you up. It has the effects of coffee. It'll keep you going throughout the day without the crash. And it's like, boom, it's fast. Like,
really?
Yeah, you drink it and it gets absorbed and you're like, I'm awake. Let's go. It's kind of...
I've been drinking a lot of Red Bull lately, which is really bad.
Yeah.
But I drink the sugar-free, which has the aspartame, which is really bad, but
yeah,
sugar-free is a little bit better than the regular.
Sugar it is death. I mean, that, honestly, if you look... There's
like sugar or like aspartame sugar?
Just regular sugar. There are a lot of forms of sugar. The most basic is glucose. That's what your body breaks everything down into.
Right.
There are other four main branches. You've got maltose, sucrose, lactose, and fructose. And fructose comes from fruit. Lactose comes from like dairy. Sucrose is usually made in a lab. Maltose comes from malts like beer and bread and stuff like that. And yada yada yada. The best sugar that you should have. I always used to think was fructose, but it turns out that destroys your liver. I tried to go no sugar because it has so many great benefits. Like, sugar, I found out recently, is an anti-nutrient. So it doesn't help your body in any way. What it does is it takes other nutrients and absorbs them.
So then, like, the sugar-free is better than the sugar.
Yes, because sugar, a lot of, you know the old adage that if you eat a lot of fat, you're going to get fat?
Yeah.
So, well, that makes sense, fat and fat. So, if I'm fat, let's cut out fat. Well, how do you cushion yourself? That's what your body, that's the lower level of your skin. How are you supposed to cushion everything? Well, they went from shit. Oh, there's good forms of fat, not just fat. There's not just...
Yeah, there's good fat and bad fat.
Right. So now the actual thing, this actually was a debate a long time ago, but the fat guy won. He wasn't like large, but the guy who was advocating that fat is bad won, and sugar was just kind of pushed under. Sugar causes a lot of diseases, and did you know that people with cancer, they cut out sugar, they have a better chance of beating their cancer because sugar feeds the cancer cells.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
That's why a lot of, like, the new trend is sugar detox, and I've read some stuff on it. People are like, you shouldn't sugar detox because it's bad for you, and I think that's complete bullshit. If you try and cut it out in one day, yes, you're doing harm to your body. But if you're trying to bring it down to where you're no longer eating sugar, oh my god, like, your heart works better, your liver is like, oh, thank god. Your blood cleaning devices are like, your kidneys, I think your liver does it too, it's like, yes, and your brain is like, boom, I can focus now, So I tried it. I was doing a full-on detox like one day. People say that sugar is more addictive than heroin, and its detox is worse.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would say like the detox is worse. Sugar is more addictive, but I got migraine headache. Like, oh my god,
that's how. Bad. Yeah, that's how I get too.
I just
taking away sugar.
Yeah, I mean, you eat so much. Like,
right.
It was Sunday morning. The buffet was over, and I went into the buffet, and I was like, okay, I'm going to eat no sugar. We're cutting it out. We're done.
Mm-hmm.
I had so much protein. I was so full, and I was still so hungry.
Because you wanted the sugar?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
If you eat every 2 hours,
mm-hmm.
Your body never feels hungry.
Yeah.
Because it never goes into that starvation mode.
Right. If you're trying to bulk up, you're not supposed to do that, though.
What?
Eat every couple hours. You're supposed to eat in segments.
You can eat in every 2 hours, but that doesn't mean eat a full meal every 2 hours. That means eat a meal morning, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then in between those times you have your maybe a small protein bar, maybe you eat some peanuts, but you don't eat a whole jar of peanuts. You eat some peanuts.
Right.
You try to limit your glucose or whatever, your sugars in what you're eating too. Yeah, you don't want to just eat a bunch of crap.
You want sugar because everything is sugar. essentially, when it comes down to food, everything gets broken down into sugar, but you want to keep the glucose to a minimum because that's what spikes your insulin.
Right.
What you want is a small spike so that you can stay somewhat steady, but there's like a bump instead of like whoosh, because then you crash. And when you crash, you're like, oh.
Yeah, and then you feel horrible.
But it gets stored, what's left is stored as glycogen in your muscles and released slowly throughout the day. So you want to eat more like protein and unsaturated fat, stuff like that, because simple sugars are glucose and it's like instant sugar high. I feel great. And then, oh, fuck. Damn it! And then you got it, and then you get
Have you ever drank lemonade at work?
No.
It is so sweet. Never drink it. Like, seriously, it's like...
Maybe once, I don't remember.
If you remember taking cough syrup as a kid? How it's that instant thick... Yes, that's how the lemonade is. It's got a thick, syrupy, just so freaking sweet.
I detoxed from sugar a long time ago. Like simple sugars and bad sugars. Not, I went to fructose because when you're getting rid of your sugars, fructose is just as bad as the other sugars, but it's considered a better sugar because fructose...
Natural.
Yes, and the ratio is 5 to 1. You have to eat 5 times as much fruit. Eat 5 times as much fructose to equal the same amount of like sucrose or maltose or whatever else. So I got into fruit, and one day I was like, you know what? I'm just going to eat this. I don't know if I was sick or what, but it was bad sugar. I went to work and I threw up.
Ew.
It was bad, and like today, I binged on bad sugar again. I'm starting to get a headache before I came over here.
Because
So, yeah, and I think that's yeah.
I could agree with that. So, like, what you were saying about, like, the cancer thing and the glucose and all of that, what's interesting to me that you even say that is, okay, so I was diagnosed with cancer when I was 22, okay? That was 2013 is when I actually had my surgery. It was 2012 when I was diagnosed, okay? I was pregnant with my daughter in the beginning of 2012, and she was born in May. So, in that time, my glucose level shot way up, and I had gestational diabetes, okay?
Oh.
And so I had to really watch what I eat because of my baby.
Yeah.
Because that's how fat, it causes a lot of health problems. And then what's interesting is if there was a spot, because I had 2 very high strains of cancer agents or whatever that contributed to making the cancer.
Yeah.
And if I had it then when that glucose shot up, that could have fed, you know what I mean? And that could have been why and it was progressive. It was very progressive. Mm-hmm. So I ended up having to have surgeries, after finding that out.
What stage was it?
It was the beginning of stage 1, but it was very progressive. So it was moving very quick. Okay, this is my kiss.
Okay.
So we'll probably stop.
Okay.